to another edition of Raplife Sports. I'm your host, Otis Smith. I have my co-host, CEO Sahara Brinson.
What's up,
And
bro?
we have a very special treat. We have a Super Bowl winner, uh, ex-49er, Carolina Panther, Mr. Eric Davis. How you doing today?
What's happening? What's happening, fellas? Like I said before, holding on for an old man. That's it. Just
we
trying to
appreciate
trying to survive it. Yeah.
we appreciate you blessing us with your presence today.
Today's with with sports in general. Like, how do you feel the black athlete? Like, do you feel like do they need to take a stance with what's going on, or just should they just leave that up to the politician, the people that should do that? Do you feel like they should take a stance in today's time with the climate?
Well, I think the way I view it is every athlete out there. This is the thing you got to understand. You remember the old Charles Barkley thing, like where like I'm not a role model.
Right.
Mhm.
And you know what? And that is correct. You are a role model by choice. You are an influencer by occupation. When you are an entertainer, when you're a professional athlete, you are an entertainer. As an entertainer, you're going to have a platform where you're going to reach, hundreds of thousands, millions upon millions for some. So because you have that type influence, you have the right to say something. I don't think you should leave it up to politicians. I think you have a right to say something because you can get information out to so many people with a tweet, with the post. You can get information out to so many people. All I say is study in private before you start speaking publicly. Make certain you have the right to talk about whatever. That whole, shut up and dribble and just bounce. Like, please don't give me that. You have the right to speak your mind and say things, but just be intelligent about it. Don't go pulling things out your butt just because somebody posted it. Don't think just because you saw it on Twitter, you're gonna be sly and post somebody else's stuff, and you haven't researched it. You don't know what it is you're talking about. So should you speak up if you have a voice? Yes. If it matters to you, yes. Do I put you down for not saying anything? No. No, you don't have to, but if you choose to say something, yes, say it. Just make sure you know what you're talking about. That's all.
Yeah. Can't disagree with that at all.
Going into a football question, how can the players that are coming out of college, high school, and college, right, educate themselves on the business of college football as well as the business of the NFL? Like when you were coming through, right, you get a scholarship, but you don't understand the business side
No.
of playing college football, and then when you got into the NFL, you had to learn the business side of the NFL. So with everything, going on with being able to get paid off your likeness, and especially where you are in California, how is there something that needs to be put in place to try to help these parents educate themselves on the business of college football as well as the business of the NFL?
Yes, it's funny you said that. I didn't even know we were going to get into that today. I have actually started a program. It's called Athlete Brand Guard, and I'll give you the website. It's athletebrandguard.com. And
Okay.
it's just for that. What I started it years ago, and Merton Hanks and I, when he was the director of operations at the NFL, we started talking about some things, and then Mark Watts is a guy who was he was a CNN reporter. He was the face of CNN during the OJ trial. Then he
Okay.
got behind the camera doing things at CNN and then for sports networks. But at long story short, me playing ball, coming from Anniston, Alabama, going to
Mhm.
Jacksonville State, getting drafted
Right.
by the world champs, and going through that whole gamut, I got to see sports in a lot of different, from a lot of different perspectives in a lot of different realms. Jerry
Mhm.
Richardson, the former owner of the Carolina Panthers, when I went there as a Panther, when I signed as a free agent, he would have me sit in the ownership group meetings
Okay.
because he wanted me to understand the importance of those home games and winning the games and the dilemma between having this house represented by Coke or Pepsi.
Okay.
The field being True Green or Ace Hardware or what, all of the business of
Okay.
football. So I got
Right.
a very good understanding of the business of football. So back to the your question was, how did you educate something to be put in place? That's what I sort of
Mm.
did. No one
Mhm.
can teach you how to. No one taught you how to be famous. No one teaches you how to deal with that fame. And the thing that is interesting, as you say, is not when you get to college. It's not when you get to pros. The first time an article is written about you as an athlete, male or female,
Mhm.
the first time your local paper writes an article about you, you know what you have done? You've become a business. You're commodity.
Okay.
You start generating money. The only reason they write articles about you is to get eyes, to get clicks, to get people on their site, to generate ad revenue. So you have started generating money. So you need to understand how to grow that pie. You're never going to get all the pie. You're never going to
Okay.
be able to eat it all. But how do you grow that pie to decide whether you are neighborhood famous, you are
Mhm.
county famous, state famous, you're nationally famous, whether you are LeBron James famous? That
Gotcha.
you're never going to get all of it. But how do you grow it? How do you maintain it? How do you understand that that's where you are? Because you become a business. You become a business. I'm so glad that they're now allowing these kids to make money in college off of their likeness, because you're going to generate hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, and even a kid that just got a scholarship. You just got a scholarship to go to Georgia Tech, to go to whatever. You have to understand. You just made $250,000. You think about the cost of school, what it's going to be for
Mhm.
you to be there. You're already generating revenue. How do you take advantage of that? So yes, something should be put in place. So look, I'm raising my hand. I decided to
You
do it.
put it in
we
place.
decided we decided to go through something, and as you said, it's not just for that athlete, it's for the parents, for coaches, for everyone to kind of understand that landscape and really see. Because guys, the thing about it, when you are a ball player,
Mhm.
understand sports is a TV show,
Right.
and the players are reality television show stars. The
Right.
fewest the truest form of reality television is sports. It's the
Mm.
only thing you can't script the unscripted. You can't script a sporting event. The Kardashians
Sure.
are scripted. You can't
Right.
script you can't script a football game, a basketball game, baseball game. But the players, and unlike those reality shows on TV, they can, the Kardashians can say cut the cameras off. When you're a ball player,
You can.
it's everything you do is live, and everybody who has a camera is a reporter. So understanding that aspect of things is something that parents need to, as soon as they can, get a grip on it when they see that their kids can move on, because it's not all about ball. It's about just the whole life and understanding the business. When you say the business of college,
Right.
knowing the people, knowing the presidents, knowing why when you're like, I'm sitting here looking at this Crimson Tide hat, and I'm an
Oh no,
Alabama
this
kid.
this Atlanta. This Atlanta. This ain't
That
Chris.
that looks like Crimson Tide to me.
Nah, this
That's it. I'm sorry, Atlanta biting. They're biting big time. When you go to when you're in that college,
yeah.
you are those boosters that you're shaking hands with. There's a reason they want to meet you. And as athletes, we don't. At that time, if I can go back to me in Jacksonville, I
Mhm.
didn't take advantage of that, because these people, why are they there? Why are they getting access to the athletes? Because of this, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They got the pull, they got the paper. So these are people you need to know. You don't just go there and play ball. You need to know these people. Get on a first name basis with these people that are doing the hiring, that you can connect with and network with to move forward. You should know who the president of your university is. I mean, like literally, they should know who you are.
Gotcha.
You have access to them. You
Mhm.
you should be able to deal with these people, because you're making this university so much money. You have to learn, as I said, you got to learn how to get your piece of that pie. So yes, something should be in place. And I'm gonna say it again, athletebrandguard.com. That's why we put it together, so like kids can start looking at that um, and working, our parents can look at it like these are the things that my kids are going to get into. This is the world. This is what it's really like. Like, yes, like everyone's gonna, everyone's gonna say don't drink and drive and don't do drugs and don't be at the strip club. Well, guess what? You're going to drink. You guys are gonna smoke, guys and girls. They're going to the strip club. So now what? Because if it was that simple,
Right.
we wouldn't still have guys getting themselves in trouble. These things still wouldn't happen. So it's about real life and how to deal with it and the world that you're going to be a part of as that reality show sports star. So yeah, it should be more of it. But since nobody else did it, I decided to, along with my, with my business partners.
All right.
So with that being said, with sports in general, how do you feel? You think we should move forward? Like today, we had the Big Ten and the ACC going to only playing teams in their conference, so they're not having to travel kind of outside of their region, and we'll have basketball in a bubble, hopefully. So what's your just take on just sports, just moving forward?
So that right there, if that's not affirmation of what I just said about sports being a television show, it's not games. It's not football game. No, it's a television show. So moving forward, you really have to look at it because these schools are worried about doing this because it's a major part of the economy. On any given Sunday when you have a game, you think about the revenue, you think about the jobs that are there, you think about across the country, whether it's in your city or whether the Falcons are playing the Saints in Atlanta or New Orleans. Everybody's watching it, right? Everybody's making money because the bars are going to be full. People are going to be there buying the wings and everything else. So it's a major part of the economy. They want that show. It's the highest rated thing. Football is the highest rated thing every year on television. So moving forward, right now, this is so weird with this pandemic. You have to really think about the safety and how long do we want to be in this situation, because it's impossible to not think that people are going to get sick. Even with the bubble that they're talking about in Orlando for basketball. And the question is always, are the players going to follow the protocol? Well, okay, the players may follow the protocol, but what about the referees? What about the training staff? What about what about the doctors? What about the scorekeepers? What about the guys that come out and wipe the floor with the towels when there's sweat on it? I mean, it's a real thing. These guys can get somebody sick. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that simple. So do I think sports need to get going? Yes, I do. Not just because I'm an old head ball player and I talk about it, but I think from an economy standpoint, it's necessary. These schools want to get it going because even like that, when you say, Big Ten teams, we're only going to play Big Ten teams. Well, you only want to do that because you're trying your best to generate some of this revenue. Because if everyone's not playing, how do you have a champion? Although that's a whole different thing in college ball anyway. I don't know how they pick a champion anyway. But that's you know what I'm saying? So why are you playing other than to raise money? Back to what we were talking about before. How these players got to understand how to get theirs because that's what the school's doing. So it's a tricky thing, man. But moving forward, if you can do it in a safe manner, people are going to get sick. But if you can do it as safe as possible and have protocol in place, that's what I'm waiting to see. No one has really said what they're going to do when the other shoe falls. Because you can always say we're going to start playing. But, okay, so now what happens when 3 or 4 guys start getting sick? If you can put that in place on how you're going to do it, I'm all down for it. But I just think, our human beings' health and safety is more important than missing a season. Because everyone acts like the world's going to end. These billionaire owners are going to go broke. The universities are going to shut down if they don't play ball for 1 year. And then that I disagree with.
You're right about that. And that's one of the reasons, Eric, we want to have you on, because I watched your career, from NFL Network, and even as a player, you always speak with such intelligence, and that's our show. We try to ask those questions that nobody else is thinking about. And my other question for you is, how smart, if you can, if the people that will see this, athletes that will see this, how smart do you have to really be to play in the NFL? Because I know it can't just all be about just how talented you are, because there's too many people who came in and left. So how smart do you really need to be a player in the NFL?
Well, it's interesting you said it's not about talent. Number one, yeah, you're right. Professional ball is really not about talent because the talent is a given. Uh, based on the position group and the competition between those guys, it is very rare that a person beats you because they're physically better than you. That is very, very rare. Because as human beings, we're just gonna max out. You reach a point to where you can only be so fast, you can only be so strong, you can only be so quick. You know what I'm saying? It's physics. It's just common physics. Physics. The math won't allow you to do with just so much. And from player to player, there's really not that much difference physically. Um, you beat someone or someone beats you based on the mental. Because this is a question I ask young ball players all the time. Because a football game, the average game's you're gonna play 70 plays. All right, you're gonna play 70. So we'll just put it that way. You play 70 plays. If I'm competing against you 70 times, how many do I have to win? And most guys are going to say, well, you know what? I got to win more than half. I got to win 36. If I win 36, then I beat you. No. See, and that's not what pro sports is about. You know how many I have to win out of 70 plays? You know how many I have to win? One. And see, that's pro sports because, see, I'll tell you, this is the thing. I can't control what you do as the competition. I completely control what I do as a competitor. So all I can do, understand that pro sports, and I'm going to get back to the smart part of it. It's not about being good. It's about being consistent. So if I consistently do my job, play after play, I'm going to have a good game. If I can consistently do my job week after week, I'm going to have a good season. And if I do that year after year, good career. It's really that simple. So it's not about being good. It's about being consistent. If I do my job consistently, I'll fall into some good plays, some great plays. That'll happen. So back to that 1-0. All I can do is do my job 70 times. You better do yours 70 times. 69 is a good grade. You'll get an A, but you just lost 1-0. That's pro sports. And now the smarts come in. You have dumb jock is an oxymoron. You can't be dumb. There are too many moving parts on a football field. A lot of it is based on position. Now, if you're a defensive lineman, I'm not saying that they're dumb guys, but they don't have as much to think about because really you are lined up in front of a large human being and your job is to move that large human being. That's really what you do. You're a bulldozer. The farther you get away from the ball, and I mess with the big boys all the time, like the farther away you get to the ball, the higher your IQ has to be. Because you have to know what everyone is doing, the nuances, and you're going to make plays, as I said, not based on the physical, based on study and understanding and deception, because after a while, remember, those other guys know what you're doing as well. So you have to learn those playbooks. Like my first playbook when I got to the 49ers, this is coming from Jacksonville State where we played cat coverage. And by cat coverage, I mean myself and my other corner, Darryl Malone, we both got drafted into the NFL, which is not bad for a Division II school, which is why we beat up on everybody. But cat coverage, it was Malone, you cover that cat, I got that cat. And that's what we did. We had two defenses. And one of them, we had a safety in the middle of the field. The other one, he was blitzing. And we had those two guys. So I had two defenses for my 4 years at Jacksonville State. I got to the San Francisco 49ers. My first playbook had 263 defenses in it. And each one of those defenses had up to a minimum of 5 variations based on formation, based on motion, based on shifts, based on personnel. So these are things that you immediately have to learn and know. And then all they do is add to the Bible during the season and over the years. So you can't be dumb to do that. And then it goes from the next phase of it. It's not just knowing what you do as a player. You want to know what everyone else on your side of the ball is doing. And once you learn, and this goes for offensive players and defenses, once you learn what everyone in your huddle is doing, you finally get to be a pro. And because now you start playing ball, because now you are paying attention to the opponent. And the guys that I'm playing, you guys are lining up, even though in that fake Atlanta hat that should be Crimson Tide. If I'm lining up in front of you, I'm not really playing you. I'm playing the coordinator up in the box, the puppet master. So see, that's what I'm saying about people think you're just out there running around aimlessly. No, there's thought put into it. There's the chess match being played between your coordinator, their coordinator. As you become a more savvy player, you start doing things and trying to fool people and get things done. I got an interception in the NFC Championship game on Troy Aikman and ran it back. And that was a play. That was a play that Tim McDonald and I watched I'm not exaggerating. We watched every single offensive snap that the Cowboys had from preseason to the previous game. And we watched them over and over and over. And I noticed something. And Tim and I started talking about it. I know it had only happened on the first third down of the game in a certain yard down and distance after a kickoff. Well, it had to be the first third down. I'm back, guys. That was my phone down there. It was the first third down.
You mean this background here?
In a certain down, I see that. In a certain down and distance, certain down and distance after the opening kick, when they got the ball, if they were in this down and distance in a certain formation, they would run a certain play. So a lot of things have to happen for that play for everything to be worked out in that situation. I got to be in the right defense. They have to be in the right personnel. The down and distance has to be there. And then when they came out the huddle, I looked at Tim and said, "Here it comes." Now, a dumb guy won't remember that. A dumb guy won't understand how to get to that point. A dumb guy will know and then not play it properly. So because you got to make them, when you know, you have to fool them into thinking that you don't know so that they do what you want them to do. That's the chess match. So you can't play football at the skill positions, definitely. On the peripheral part of the game, you can't. You're working with too many individuals. It's just like any other job where you are part of a team and the guy next to you is dependent upon you doing your job. You're not a good manager if everyone that all the subordinates aren't good at their job. Your numbers aren't going to come out well. And that's one of these things that goes along with football. So smart guys can play a lot longer. You can be very athletic and get away with it for a while. If you're just this freakish athlete, you can get away with it for a while, but you'll never maximize that athleticism if you're not smart. And a really smart guy can actually have a career in the NFL, a long career in the NFL, because they're smart enough to understand one of the first things you got to learn as a pro athlete, what you are not good at and how to avoid it. Because everybody's bad at something, and that's the game, is to find and attack your weaknesses. And a smart guy can find ways to put himself in position of strength.
Okay. I think all of the sense in the world. It was so much, as I say, free game you just gave us in regards to from the business side to the player side. You know, I definitely want hope our younger viewers, these high school and college players, once they watch this, understand what's important and what can, take you a long way, and understanding what's about being a pro. There's a lot of that, been around a lot of guys. And what you said don't come up in a lot of conversations in locker room and things of that nature about being pro. Everybody just want to see the pro and they see the money. But you don't, you might even get there to get the first little bit of money, but if you're smart and be smart enough, you'll keep getting more contracts and so on and so forth. So I'm definitely going to, put this into the younger guys that we deal with and make sure they understand They gonna have to start early by their likenesses and stuff. Everything now is gonna be 4 years earlier when the money can come.
Absolutely. So, and it's just it's a mindset of just knowing how to do the things that you're supposed to do, and the most important thing for an athlete, as I say, is consistency. Don't and that's what young athletes everyone wants to be good. Everybody wants to be on the top 10 highlights, and everybody wants the pat on the back, and they want the autograph signing. But to do that, just do what you're supposed to do. Be that in the classroom to keep yourself in position so that you can keep moving forward. Be that on the field when you're doing your work. Don't cut corners. All of these things will put you in position to now have a chance. It doesn't promise you that you're going to be a star. You know, some of it, you know, I mean, there's just some things that you can't do. If you're not born a 4.2, you're not going to be a 4.2. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you can't. This is the thing that you got to understand. That doesn't mean that you can't cover a 4.2. That you can't beat you. Because remember, this is the thing. And when you guys are dealing with kids, this is what I tell them all the time. Understanding competition and being a pro. If you want to truly know the mindset of a pro, understand that being a pro is about the truest form. A successful pro understands the truest form of competition. And this is what the truest form of competition is. We hear all the time that expression, you know, if we're racing 9 times out of 10, I should beat you. So I'm faster than you. 9 times out of 10, I should beat you. Haven't you heard that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, why should I beat you 9 times out of 10 if I'm faster? If I'm faster, I should beat you 10 out of 10. I'm faster. I'm faster. So that's not competition. If I'm faster than you, I'm supposed to beat you. Competition doesn't even begin until I'm as good as you, until I'm as quick, until I'm as strong, until I'm as fast. That's when now we're competing. When we're on the same plane, and I have the same. I'm as fast. I'm as strong. I'm as smart. I'm as quick. I'm as dedicated. Not the guy who's not working hard. You always hear, you know what? I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna outwork it. Well, what happens when you run into the guy who works as hard as you?
All right.
See, that's when competition starts. Now, being a pro, being a high-level pro, being an all-pro, being those Hall of Famers, being those Pro Bowlers, you understand the truest form of competition. Doesn't start until you're as good as me. The truest form of competition.
What happened?
The truest form. Wait a minute, I lost everybody.
We're here. I can hear you. Okay. I can see you. I hear you.
Well, the truest form of competition is what happens when you are better than me, when you are bigger, when you are stronger, when you are faster. How do I beat you? Because just because you're bigger, stronger, faster, quicker doesn't mean I can't beat you. And that's figuring that out and how to win under those circumstances, how to eat the elephant. That's when you understand competition, and that's the mindset of a pro, because it's only one way to eat an elephant, because most guys look at it and they're going to be like, man, there ain't no way in hell I can eat that. And that other dude is going to walk up and take a bite. And then he's going to take another one. And he's going to take another one. And that's how you eat an elephant. You got to be willing to take that bite. You got to be willing to figure out, dedicated, and figure out how to get beyond the guy who's better than you, because you will face him. It may be a slight difference. As I said earlier, it's not a lot of difference, but how do you find a way to get beyond that guy? That's competing. That's competition. That's when it's fun.
You're right. And that's in life in general. Just, in life in general.
Absolutely. My dad used to tell me, and he still says it right now. Hard. A lot of people run away from hard. Hard doesn't mean impossible. Hard just means hard, man. Yeah. That's it. This is hard. This is difficult. I can't figure, man, I don't know what I'm going to do, man. This isn't fair. Nobody said the world was fair. Nobody said things were going to be easy. You decide if you're going to figure it out. You decide if you're going to ball up in the fetal position and say, I give, or if you plan on winning. It's that simple.
That's it.
Well, Eric, also interview 5-star athletes and stuff. You know, guys coming out of
Mm-hmm.
high school, getting ready to get college scholarships. We would love to bring you back on and be able to dive in just what you're talking about now, and giving your website where they can find, and maybe we can link you with those athletes so they can be better prepared, especially like you said, now they can get paid off their likeness and start preparing themselves, especially if you got a guy who may can end up in the NFL. He
Mm-hmm.
may can, listen to you and your business partners, the website, and get their knowledge so he's better prepared from college to the pro level.
I would love to do it, and that's exactly why I started it. That's exactly why we did it. Want the next group of guys to just see. I mean, I was fortunate. I got in 13 years NFL. When they called me back for 14, I was like, nope, that's it. I got in 13. I've been in the media side of things, over 15 years. So I've gotten the opportunity to see how it is, and that's why I wanted to bring this to that younger generation, especially now that the world has changed with Instagram and with just with social media in general.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand the platform that you have, where you are, the money that can be made. Because this isn't like when I played. We made money. These dudes are making generational money. These dudes aren't. It's not. They're not getting rich now. You have an opportunity to get wealthy.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes just got $140 million guaranteed. Forget the rest of it, all the 500 stuff. That's monopoly money.
Yeah.
Welcome to LA, young
Yeah.
Illinois. That's monopoly money. Real money is the guaranteed money. And these guys have opportunities to make 9 figures with just by signing their name. So you have to understand, like I said, how big do you want to build that pie? And that's what we want to do. So yeah, man, I have no problem, would actually enjoyed coming by and talking to the guys, and that's my mode right now. I'm trying to really get with a lot of these camps where these kids are going through and talk to them face to face, because that's a part of it too. We go out and talk to guys face to face and tell them stories. I got a lot of good stories, trust me. But also,
well, you played with some great players, so I know you have some stories.
yeah, and I played in a pretty good era too, with against a lot of great players.
Yeah.
And so, I have an understanding of what it is that they are about to go through as players, as young men, even ladies that are out there, young women, like what you're going to go through as a young athlete. I also know the flip side of it, how the media will attack you, how they are part of that. They are a part of that reality show, but they have a completely different agenda, and their goal is to make money, just like your goal is to make money, but they can make it on either end.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you are doing well or whether you are screwing up, they can still make money. And actually, they make more money when you screw up, because you can talk about that longer. You can only talk about a good play 1 or 2 times. Because after you've seen the dunk, after you've seen the Odell Beckham catch, do you really need to see that again? But now,
Right.
but now, if Odell gets in trouble, we can talk about Odell getting in trouble. We can compare Odell's trouble to another guy's trouble. We can compare both of those guys to another person's trouble, and keep the story going. And every time something happens, you can keep bringing up that trouble. So that's what you got to understand. So yeah, man, I'm all in. You guys bring, if you don't mind me running my mouth like I run it, so as long as you guys don't have a problem with that, or me talking about that bite on that Alabama hat, we know that's Crimson Tide, but I'll let it go. If you say it's Atlanta,
it's Atlanta. I'm a Hurricane fan anyway, so
what's that? You're what?
I'm a Hurricane fan. I ain't Alabama.
Okay. We beat up on them too, so that's it. And I do say we. I'm from Alabama, so that was my first professional team that I fell in love with, was the University of Alabama.
But again, man, we wanna thank you for allowing us, to come on the show. Appreciate your time. We definitely have you, have you back. We have all your info in the link of this bio, so all our fans, you make sure y'all, check the link, follow up with what he got going on. Again, thank you for being on. And from Raplife, Otis and Sahara, y'all be blessed and be fresh. We out of here.
Peace.